Oh, the cup, continue with the cup. So for like 10 days after that,
It is.
And I said,
so finally, I just cut off the dressing and so I wore them out because
I could not.
there's a sensation.
Good, hey, this is what you said, last,
Yeah, I was
about the maps,
sounding
parking on the streets.
This is his new toy. I'm on council.
It sounds pretty good, you know, talking about the way it's organized. Oh, yeah. It'll be good. Oh, yeah?
No, I thought you didn't have pictures. Okay, this came up to me after my meeting. That, I don't know if you guys actually keep records on this or if it's just like anecdotal, but and I looked at this from a city stat point of view. Also in Maryland started something many years ago called City Stat, where they put together all these components of information.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Because you know, if I could get the people on my block, you know, like that, but you know, people have to get to that.
You're gonna hide money.
People know the tracks. Like, they
Now,
know.
now they totally would say.
I like to know like the percentage of clients tell me people get their people's office with that trash day.
Oh, that would be.
We have an ordinance guide, but I mean from your bird's eye, from your point of view on the streets, I mean I know you don't count cars or anything like that. You're just like in your drivers in a general day, because in a general route they see 20%, you know,
Left eye series.
Yeah.
Do an audit.
Spot check, but I'd like to know because then I get it from the contractor's point of view, you know. So because that's an important piece of data. Because it drives me insane, you know.
as far as the framework and then the time frame, so I think it's 7 to 5. I'm gonna check.
Yeah, 7 to 3.
Donna,
We're going to get started here. If I could have the camera, please.
Yep. Turn it all back on.
All right. Call the meeting of the Lincoln Park Mayor and City Council to order for August 6th already. If everyone would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, which will be immediately followed by a moment of silence for those members of our community that have lost a loved one, and particularly longtime city volunteer and Public Safety Commissioner Gino Cerise. I remember him in your prayers also. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Again, condolences to the family of Gino Cerise, a longtime volunteer for our city. And if we could go on to roll call, please.
Councilperson Zarzinski.
Here.
Higgins. Here. Kelsey.
Here.
Murphy.
Here.
Parkinson.
Here.
Ross.
Here.
And Mayor Carnes.
Here. Under Mayor's comments, got a few things. I did receive a thank you from the work of the DPS in reference to the Dixon Charter area on August 1st, where they cite Tony, Mike, and Frank for doing, as I quote Mr. Johnson, a super job on the sewer line, that they went through, did an awful lot of work, and then they came back the next day to take care of the issue. Did not have enough good things to say about the work that the DPS workers. So, John, if you would pass our thanks on to them on a good job. We have an event coming up at Saul's Barber Shop, which is at 3605 Fort Street. And it's something called Cuts for Cleft. As one of the barbers, their son was born with a cleft palate. And so they are raising funds through cutting of hair at their location from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturday, August 11th. So it's, let's see, that's Fort and Winchester is where the barber shop is located on. And it says on August 11th, 2016, our sweet boy Joseph was born with left unilateral cleft lip and palate. Being first-time parents, we are joyously anticipating this day, unaware of the challenges to come. We're surprised to learn that 1 in 700 babies are born with this condition. Joseph has taught us so much about resiliency, courage, and inner strength. So if you are in need of a haircut, or even if you're not, stop on by there. This past Wednesday, I think it was also the first, early in the morning, we had what I call a surprise tornado warning. Surprise in the fact that usually a tornado warning has watches that go into effect and such, but sitting at home and then to have that alarm go on and say that there is a warning there makes it very interesting. It exposed a little bit of an issue that we had with our siren. Our sirens did not sound. The fact that the sirens are located in the fire department, and due to the previous weather and the rain and the winds, there were wires that had been knocked down. So there was no one inside of the fire hall to activate that. and process of getting the police over there. The warning was expired by the time that happened. We did have a meeting today of our emergency management, but that was for the plan for the storm back in March. But in that, the siren issue was discussed. We have arranged now so that that will not be an issue. Police department will have almost immediate access, and they were over there today. I went over there today too to learn how to activate that. And as a backup for that, and since I reside in the city, I have asked and gained access to the siren system. I know how to operate it. So if, as a fail-safe, when it comes down to it and we don't have anybody there to notify, I'll go in and take care of business. But we're looking to upgrade that, and then not only to have it at the fire hall, but to have it at the police department also. But that should be the last time that takes place in that fashion. So on Wednesday, August 15th, there's another event in town. This is after several months of major renovations. Thrilled to announce the grand reopening of our Lincoln Park Kroger store. We invite you to celebrate this $3.4 million update by joining us for a VIP ribbon cutting ceremony. Well, I'm inviting all you guys too, so. So there is a ceremony, so make sure that you come down and see what, if you haven't been in Kroger's in a while, sounds like it's time to go down and check out. $3.5 million is a substantial investment in our town, and we're thankful that they are doing that. So we also have Mr. Jeff Day from the Historical Museum. Jeff, you're still with us? About a couple events going on? Okay.
Thank you, Mayor Carnes and Council. I'm here to give an update on current programming at the Historical Museum. Our current exhibit features early Ford plant history, the Ford Rouge plant, covering the decade of 1918 to 1928. That was the first years of the plant. This time also coincides with the early formation and development of Lincoln Park, which was a time that Jew workers who came for the good jobs offered at the Rouge and nearby industries. Many of these folks came other parts of the country and also from foreign lands. I think we still call that the American dream, and a lot of that took place here in the 1920s. These folks settled here in Lincoln Park and raised their families and became involved in local politics and schools, and others came here to set up retail businesses in the new community. Coinciding with this exhibit, we have two events coming up this week. On Wednesday, August 8th, there will be a program on the Rouge plant's early beginnings 100 years ago when Ford Motor Company produced Eagle boats for the U.S. Navy during the final year of World War I. We're very happy to have Matt Anderson, who is the Curator of Transportation for the Henry Ford, will come and give this presentation for us. It should be very, very interesting. Matt has done a good deal of research on the Eagle boats this year for its 100-year anniversary. The event will be held at 7 o'clock on this Wednesday at the Historical Museum. Then this next weekend on Saturday the 11th of August, there will be a Model A car show held at Youth Center Park, located on Dix Highway at Gregory Avenue. The hours for that are 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. This is a unique opportunity for folks to come and check out these classic automobiles. This year is the 90th anniversary of the Ford car, of which there were just 4 model years from 1928 to 1932. We're expecting a variety of vehicles to be featured at the show, different styles and different years. Many of the car show's participants are coming from the Downriver Model A Club, which is co-hosting the event with us and with the Lincoln Park Parks and Recreation Department, whose help we are very appreciative of. Anyone with a Model A car is invited to come and participate in the event on Saturday. The hours again are 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., and car check-in begins at 9 a.m. Both of these events are free and open to the public. One final note, the museum is also in the process of locating photographs of local soldiers who served with the U.S. military in the First World War in the years 1917 to 1919. for an exhibit this fall. These are very, very early years of our community's history, and it has understandably been difficult to identify many of these individuals or their families unless we have people come forward and share information with us. So that's what we're asking help from the community, if you know of anybody who has connections to the First World War. The museum phone number is 313-386-3137. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Also, coming up next weekend will be, next weekend being August 19th, a couple weeks yet to go. Make your plans to attend the Cops Care Community Ordering Policing Services Picnic at Youth Center Park, which is 3525 Dix, from 12 p.m. until 3 p.m. I think that this is at least the third, maybe the fourth year that they've been doing this. It's the Lincoln Park Police Department, along with the Lincoln Park Neighborhood Watch, and generous support of Baker's Gas Welding Supplies, Chapatawala, Family McDonald's, Myers, and the Rotary Club of Lincoln Park will be sponsoring the event. So it's been a good time in the past, and will again be also. A couple weeks ago, there was a young man that made a difference in the lives of the people that he assisted in saving their lives, and this is Mr. Riker Begansky. Now, he has been suffering some health issues that are terminal, and apparently he could not make it here tonight, but we'll make sure that he gets this proclamation. We may stop by the home and deliver it. And matter of fact, maybe tomorrow, Mr. Councilman, this is your idea, we can go down there and pay a visit to him. But I want to make sure that this got on the record, so if he is watching, knows that he has our appreciation. So whereas on May 15, 2018, Riker Begansky assisted a woman who was having a seizure while operating a motor vehicle while her daughter was in the back seat. Whereas Riker was able to bring her car safely to a stop, and due to his quick actions to the aid of his fellow citizens, he was able to save their lives. And whereas the City of Lincoln Park wishes to honor the actions of Riker Begansky for his services to the city. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Mayor Thomas C. Carnes, along with the City Council and citizens of Lincoln Park, do hereby extend our deepest gratitude to Riker Begansky for his act of bravery and for his profound and inspiring example of commitment to helping those in need. That's dated August 6th, so make arrangements to get that to them, and we're thankful for his bravery and for others that are out there, but in particular since he was in failing health too and chose to do the right thing. Lastly, under Mayor's comments, we have a street sectioning program that is currently undergoing, which is Riverbank from Ferris to Wilson. In the aftermath of the cement, there's been questions and concerns about the bringing the grass area back to what it was before, or in reconstruction for that. There's been several complaints about what has been done, the process, and that it has failed to satisfy currently. So what I wanted to do and did do actually was to have our DPS representatives here, our Hennessy Engineering, who oversees the property, and I also asked the contractor, which is Hard Rock, to be present here today to discuss this and how this is going to be rectified moving forward, because the folks are not happy what I've seen in driving down there. I would not have been happy for that. My main concern with this is that we have limited roads that we can repair, and it should be a period of celebration when we get one done, and the homeowners should be happy for that. But with currently, it's leaving a bad taste in their mouths that they're worse off. They consider, because they're worse off with the way that the grass is now. That's what we want to talk about today. So if we have folks, if a representative each could come up to the program, I'd like to talk, is the contractor here, or they? Hi. What, if you, sir, if you'd come up to the podium? I went out to the site last year as the
Okay.
cement was being done. I think that was you that was there.
Yeah,
right?
my name is Tony Grimaldi. I'm the owner of
And
Hard Rock
Tony, and you
Concrete.
said before the snow flied, you'd get the cement work done.
Correct.
And the cement that was put down, and my, looking at, the cement was done admirably. I don't
Yeah.
have an issue
Yeah.
with that, but,
So we went in, we did all the underground work,
okay,
all the pipe and the sewer and the storm sewer, that went smooth. We came in, removed all the concrete, hauled it all away, pulled all the material out, put all new base in there. I believe we did edge drain over there also. We did edge drain. The road rides beautifully. There's not, I've walked it twice, there's not a single crack on that whole street, on the whole thing. Where I'm embarrassed and it failed is I hired a subcontractor to do the restoration between the sidewalk and the curb and gutter, and a little bit where the taps were at on the, you know, by the people's lawns. So my contractor went in, he backfilled everything and hydro seeded it. It was late in the season. So of course, this spring it settled a little bit and it didn't look well, so I called him and I said, hey, we got to get it back out there immediately and repair it. So we got back out there, backfilled everything with topsoil, re-hydro seeded it, and then watered it several times. It was a hot summer, but we watered it a lot. Well, crabgrass and weeds grew, and I kept telling my contractor, hey, this doesn't look well. So what I did is I decided to let him go. I endured all this. I already paid him. And by the way, I haven't been paid from the city, and I don't expect to be paid because it's not done properly. I hired a new contractor that I'm using on other jobs. His name is Davis Outdoors. He did a beautiful job for me in several other municipalities. He came out, mobilized on Thursday. We removed all the weeds, crabgrass, all the bad areas up and down the whole street, hauled it all away, regraded everything with topsoil, and actually they were working on it this evening. They started hydro seeding, but had to stop because of the weather. They'll finish it tomorrow morning. And we, you know, at Hard Rock, we've been in business for 30 years. I've never had a contract taken away, especially for some grass. But I stand behind it 100%. I'll tell you right now, if that grass doesn't take by the end of the season, I'll replace the whole thing with sod, free of cost. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And the next streets that we're doing, we were awarded a contract, I don't know, a couple months ago, Monty Street and Gould Street. When we were awarded the contract, we ordered all the pipes and all the hydrants and all the valves. All that finally came in. They're going to be delivered on Monty Street and Gould Street on Monday, 1 week from today. On Tuesday, the contractors are going to start, same underground company that we used last year. They do fantastic work. And again, when we're at the end of that project, if that grass hasn't taken on Riverbank, this new project, the 2 new streets, I'll put sod on all of it. Done. At my cost. I won't charge you an extra penny. So, I mean, I think I'm standing behind my work 110% by offering that. You know, sod is $3-4 a yard. Hydro seed is 40 cents a square foot, so.
I got you, and that's the impression that I got when I went out and spoke with you in
Yep.
the fall before that was done.
Correct.
Now, what, was it the mix of the soil that the initial contractor
I
used?
think the initial contractor, when I asked him for all the receipts of, okay, so in the spec book, it says you gotta use so many pounds of seed, a certain type of seed, a certain type of fertilizer. I think he didn't use enough seed and too much fertilizer. And it grew, but it was all crabgrass. So I'm like, this is unacceptable. We ripped it all out. It's all out. I mean, we could drive it right now. We drove it before we got here. Everything's stripped out. Everything's topsoil and graded out. So again, I did all the concrete and I subcontracted him out. And like I said, I let him go. And I've hired a new subcontractor.
Okay.
And I'll put it in writing for you. I'll put it in writing. If you don't, if it doesn't take, I'll do it inside. No offense. Matter of fact, Riverbank up by 4th Street, I did that several years ago, and we did that out of sod. You guys called for sod. I bid it for sod, laid it down, never had an issue. Now with hydro seed takes a lot of maintenance. You know, you gotta water it a lot and cut it, and I mean, it's just kind of a pain to get it to grow. If you wanna go with sod, I'll put sod down for you. What
And
more?
that section of Riverbank that you're talking about, the other section is still in good shape.
Yeah,
So it's not-
it looks fine. I mean, there's some grass that's burnt, you know, a lot
Well,
of.
there was a disconnect between what, we saw with the cement work and then at the end with the various, because I can't tell you how many different complaints that the DPS subcommittee was fielding complaints on that. Residents would.
On the side, on the grass?
On the grass.
Oh, yeah, it looks terrible. I'll be the first one to admit it. That's why I removed it all. I went out there myself and I'm like, whoa, this doesn't look good. Let's get it out right away.
But as we go to Hennessy, though, was the seed inspected?
No, that was one of the,
Come up.
Yep.
Yes, Mayor. Jim Hollinsworth from Hennessy Engineers. That was one of the issues we had with that subcontractor. The subcontractor would mobilize, not inform us at all that they were going to be in there. Next thing we know, it's done and they're out of there. So that was one of the things we did address with Hard Rock. And Tony will tell you that, they came in a couple of times. We weren't happy. And his first question to me was, do you want me to fire him and get a new contractor? I said, absolutely. And that was part of the problem. They were not responsive. They kind of just did things on their own. And I think Tony realized that after the fact, and that's why he said, I'm done with these guys. We're bringing in somebody that will.
Okay, and you're monitoring these?
Yes, we are. Absolutely, yes. And we have the receipts from the seed and everything. Absolutely.
Okay, and then, but your guys do daily reports
That's correct, yes.
on there, so that
Yes.
will, okay.
Yes, yes. And I wanted to thank you and the city manager for taking the time to meet with us on these issues beforehand as well, a couple weeks ago expressing concerns about different things. So that was really helpful, and we worked with Hard Rock right after our meeting and started getting everything addressed as well, too.
Okay.
We were
And
working on
so-
that beforehand.
For additional citizen complaints, do you want to be notified of that,
Here's
Tony?
my business card with my number.
Okay,
You can give it to all the citizens on that street. They can call me anytime.
okay,
I'm on it now. I took my new contractor, Davis Outdoors. He's working on several other job sites for me in different cities. I pulled him off all those job sites, said, get to Lincoln Park right now. And he did. He mobilized everything and got over there and, stripped everything out, brought topsoil in, graded it all out.
okay,
It
well,
will be completed tomorrow. Probably 50% of the seed was shot tonight before it started raining, and there's no use of spraying it while it's raining.
yep, I understand.
And then we'll start watering it a lot, and they'll receive watering tickets. So we'll probably water it once a day for the first week, and then we'll go every other day.
Okay, well, I wanted,
We should let the homeowners know. I mean, what we do in a lot of cities, we'll give them a piece of paper saying, hey, we've, installed hydro seed. We're gonna water it for the first week or the second week, and then, please continue to water it if it's hot. But the nice thing about it now is we're getting towards the middle of summer where it's gonna start cooling down. We're not gonna deal with the real hot weather.
okay, very good. I appreciate you gentlemen coming in and taking care of this for us,
Yep.
and for you being upfront with, and taking care of the business.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I love working here. We're gonna get this other project done for you, and, like I said, if you want sod, I'll put sod down.
Do you have enough cards for each of the council?
I have, yeah.
Because they
I believe
field,
so.
okay, because
Want me to
they,
hand them out right now?
if you don't mind,
Yeah,
because they
sure,
end
no
up
problem.
fielding complaints from citizens.
They can
that
call me
get
direct,
that.
and I'll meet them right out there immediately.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
Good.
Thank you. Give you a safer.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate that.
Mr. Mayor, if I will, if I could,
I'd like to discuss this. Shall I wait till council's discussion? Because I think the contractor should be here to hear this. Because the DPS committee has been, this went way back to May, according to the emails I have. So my concern is that, you know, you're right, we fielded this for a long time. This is August the 6th. And we talked to Ryan from Hennessy at the DPS. You know, we sit once a month, the DPS committee does, with the city manager. I guess my only concern is, why did it take from May 14th to now, with all respect to the parties involved? And we've been talking about this, and then you've got the complaints like we did, and my only concern is that I don't want to belittle this, I guess, but the same token, we spent a lot of time on this to get to this point, and I just don't want to do this again. And I'll leave that where it's at. Thank you.
Okay. Right now, we will move on to the consent agenda. The resolve that the following items listed on the consent agenda be approved as presented to the mayor and city council. 1, approve minutes, regular meeting held July 16, 2018. 2, accept minutes, study session held July 16, 2018, RE fire inspections. 3, approve minutes, special meeting held July 23rd, RE trash and FROR. 4, approve block party, 1700 block of Morris. 5, approve block party, 1800 block of Buckingham.
So move, Your Honor.
Support.
Your Honor, I'd like to abstain on number 3, the special meeting.
Okay. Further discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Council President Murphy?
Yes.
Darzinski?
Yes.
Higgins?
Yes.
Kelsey?
Yes.
Parkinson?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
And Mayor Carnes.
Yes. All right, that's what I was looking for. First action item has a cover letter from Doreen Christian, Director of Community Planning and Development. And it's authorized funding agreement with Wayne County. Purpose, to enter into agreement with Wayne County to receive funding for Quant Park and Community Center ice rink. Budget impact will result in Wayne County providing $85,000 towards the Quant Park lighting and Community Center flooring. Background, the Parks and Recreation Department has applied for and received a grant from the county to aid in the upgrade of Quant Park lighting and Community Center flooring. This will go for, whereas the County of Wayne, Michigan, and the City of Lincoln Park, Michigan, have an interest in entering into cooperative parks and recreation projects that are mutually beneficial to the residents of Wayne County. Whereas the county will cooperatively fund the improvements at Quant Park and the Community Center in the amount of $85,000. Therefore, be resolved that the City of Lincoln Park enter into a funding agreement with the County of Wayne, and the mayor and city clerk are authorized to sign all documents necessary to execute said agreement.
Support.
Discussion? We have Iona here. Would you like to comment on this?
Well, I'm honored to bring you the $85,000 for these two projects. I also have to just kind of say up front that we may have to accept another $10,000 in lighting grants, and then at that time, we probably would amend, so more of the money would go to the flooring at the community center, because the grant might be coming for lighting. We're doing a $200,000 lighting project at Clark Park. Actually, $300-some thousand. The community raised $130. Wayne County grants put in, not funds from our tax dollars, but a grant from economic development. And so I found out that there were some other monies left over in that pot. So I went after it. And so I asked for another $10,000, hopefully, and if I can use my influence a little bit more, hopefully we might be able to light the whole, get the bulbs, that is, for the Quant Park lighting system, and then we can use the rest for the community center, because we know that really needs it. So if we have to amend it, it will be a friendly amendment. it shouldn't take too long to do that. So I'm working really hard to find out how much money is in that pot left, because information is not coming from that entity, because it's not part of Wayne County Wayne County government. It's a separate economic development arm that is run by a board. So I'll explain it some other time when I can actually go into the workings of it, but that was done a few years back, and monies were left over from the times when Turkey Mullen was still there, and so this organization was founded and funded in some ways, and so when I found out that there were monies in there, then I went after it, and we were granted for Clark Park Community, and then hopefully we'll get some for here too. I'm hoping the remainder. So I'm really proud of that, to be able to dig that much into a system that doesn't want to be shed light on. So hopefully that will resolve all of that from the former years, and we won't have any money left in there at all in that particular pot.
Well, thank you for your assistance on that.
Your Honor,
Yeah, yes.
I just want to make a comment to our county commissioner. It is so nice to have someone working for us from the county that actually brings us money back from the tax dollars we paid out. You've done a great job. Thank you.
Well, I pulled it for 2 years. I held on to it. I didn't give any last year because I wanted to make a bigger impact, and I understand we're going to do that for the splash park for 2 years from now too. So I'm digging into every pot, and I'm hoping, knock on wood, that next year I'm going to go for budget director, budget committee chair, and so I'm practicing this year for then, and so I will be able to turn more money over, I hope, than I was able to, but that's because I've been there for a long time.
Well, as I'm sure you know, many times we've tried to get money from the county for this or that or the other thing. It hasn't happened. It's nice when it happens.
And I still can't get them to paint that one line on the road, so go figure. But hopefully that will be done too. That's the one last project I can't believe that they just, they're taking their sweet old time on. So,
All right.
well, I thank you for all that you do, because, I always say Lincoln Park is very, very fortunate to have you all working so hard for the residents. And if I could just say, if I'm not out of line, tomorrow is election day, so whoever you vote for, just please go and vote. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Further discussion? All right, hearing none, clerk call the roll.
Councilpersons Higgins,
Yay.
Parkinson,
Yay.
Darzinski,
Yes.
Kelsey.
Yes.
Murphy.
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
And Mayor Carnes.
Yes. Next item has a cover letter from our city manager, Mr. Kopler. As mayor and council are aware, the city recently bid out the curbside collection of municipal solid waste. Two companies, Green for Life Environmental USA Incorporated and Advanced Disposal, submitted proposals for the service. Following a review session on July 23, 2018, a consensus was reached to award this contract to Green for Life Environmental USA. This contract with GFL will begin on September 1, 2018, and conclude on August 31st, 2023. The new contract fees represents an increase of approximately 4.6% over the current curbside collection fees. Had the city gone with advanced disposal, the increase would have been approximately 44%. Mayor and council also reached a consensus to not select curbside collection of recyclables at this point in time. Town hall style meeting on recycling will be held within the next several weeks to get feedback from residents on what they would like to see the city do when it comes to recycling. So Whereas the City of Lincoln Park has solicited bids from qualified companies to provide curbside collection and transportation thereof municipal solid waste and yard waste for the term of 5 years beginning September 1, 2018. And whereas the city received 2 bids for this service and following a competitive selection process, the recommended company is Green for Life Environmental. Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and city council hereby award the curbside collection and transportation of municipal solid waste to Green for Life Environmental USA Incorporated, 6200 Elm Ridge, Sterling Heights, Michigan, for a term of 5 years beginning September 1, 2018. And be it further resolved that the mayor and council will not choose curbside recycling alternative 1 or alternative 2 at this time. And be it further resolved that the mayor and clerk are authorized to execute all necessary agreements on behalf of the City of Lincoln Park with Green for Life Environmental USA Incorporated.
So move, Your Honor.
Support.
Discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Council President Murphy?
Yes.
Councilman Kelsey?
Yes.
Councilman Higgins?
Yes.
Parkinson?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Darzinski?
Yes.
And Mayor Carnes.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Next item has a cover letter from John Kazoo, Director of Department of Public Services. The City of Lincoln Park Department of Public Services put out a bid and is in receipt of the bids for the maintenance of the city's generators. There were 8 qualified bids received with American Generators being the lowest bidder for a total bid amount of $6,900 for year 1 and $6,900 for year 2. In addition to the 13 generators listed in the bid package, there was an additional generator that the city was not aware of on top of the community center. American Generators has agreed to service this generator at a cost of $450 annually. And be it resolved that the mayor and city council hereby award the bid for the maintenance of the city's generators to American Generators for a cost not to exceed $7,350 for year 1 and $7,350 for year 2. Be it resolved that the mayor and city council authorize the funds to be taken from account numbers 101-263-931000, Building and Grounds Facilities Maintenance, 592-500-931000, Retention Basin Facilities Maintenance, 592-527-931000, Sewer Department Facilities Maintenance, 760-136-931000, Court Facilities Maintenance, and 101-720-931000, Community Center Facilities Maintenance. Be it further resolved that the mayor and city clerk authorize the mayor and city council authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign all pertinent contract documents.
So moved.
Discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Kelsey?
Yes.
Higgins?
Yes.
Darzinski?
Yes.
Murphy?
Yes.
Parkinson?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
And Mayor Carnes.
Yes. Next item has a cover letter from our city manager. Contained within the city's fiscal year 18-19 operational budget are funds to complete a roof renovation of City Hall. City Hall has experienced a number of leaks that damage the building and its contents. Additionally, the deteriorating roof drives up the energy costs for the building since warm or cooled air is leaking through these same holes. Lincoln Park Community Center is also experiencing issues with flat roof portion of the facility. Over the last few years, the building has sustained damage due to the failure of the roof. Water damage can be seen in the lobby area as well as in the locker rooms. Through money received from Wayne County, we'll be embarking on a replacement of the rubberized floor in the community center, and it would be beneficial to have these roof issues corrected before we install the new flooring that could be damaged by these leaks. We didn't have capacity within the general fund budget to complete both of these projects. However, the City Hall roof will only be using approximately 55% of the budgeted amount, leaving the community center roof needing approximately $52,000 to complete. I would propose we move this amount from funds in the CIP that would have gone towards a new dog shelter. Since the plan being proposed for the shelter will need far less than the amount budgeted, this amount would be available. Staff is proposing that mayor and council waive the bidding process and grant insulated roofing contractors the contract for these two roof renovations. Hennessy Engineers have reviewed the quotes for these two roofs and find the amounts consistent with the bid that was awarded by mayor and council for the Kennedy Memorial Building and was later amended to include the Lincoln Street Pump Station. Besides saving time, this will also save on bidding costs associated with development of specifications and bid documents. You may recall we only received 2 bids for the Kennedy Memorial Senior Center Building, with the second bid being 170% higher than the bid submitted by insulated roofing contractors. So, whereas the city solicited for bids for roof renovations for the Kennedy Memorial Building / Senior Center, awarding the project to insulated roofing contractors. And whereas the city has placed in the fiscal year 2018-19 budget funds to renovate the roof of the City Hall in the amount of $100,000. And whereas the Lincoln Park Community Center is also in need of roof renovations, and money is available in the Capital Improvement Fund from a project that will not be completed. And whereas insulated roofing contractors have provided quotes for roof renovations of both City Hall and the Community Center flat roof that is consistent with their bid on the Kennedy Memorial Building / Senior Center. Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and city waive the bidding requirement for the roof renovations of City Hall and the Lincoln Park Community Center and utilize the contract pricing offered by insulated roofing contractors to complete the project. And be it further resolved that the total contract amount not exceed $167,142, which includes a 10% contingency with funds to come from CIP account number 410-001-983-000-BG10. And be it further resolved that the mayor and city clerk are authorized to execute all necessary agreements on behalf of the city of Lincoln Park with insulated roofing contractor to complete this project.
Support.
Discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Higgins,
Yes.
Darzinski,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Murphy.
Yes.
Parkinson,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. Next action item has a cover letter from John Kazoo, our Department of Public Services guru. The Lincoln Park DPS has used an outside contractor for road striping for major roads in Lincoln Park. The major roads require equipment for striping that the DPS does not possess. Our current road striping equipment is a walk-behind unit that can cause a safety hazard when doing the major streets. Also, the volumes of markings that are needed on those roads would be too time-consuming for the DPS to complete with a walk-behind striping machine. RS Contract Incorporated is currently in contract with Wayne County for road striping. They have extended to the city of Lincoln Park the contracting unit rates they have with Wayne County. So whereas Wayne County has completed a formal bid process for road striping, and whereas RS Contract Incorporated, the lowest best bidder, has agreed to honor the same bid for Lincoln Park. Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council hereby waive the formal bid process and award the contract for road striping using the Wayne County contract with RS Contracting Incorporated for a cost not to exceed $8,500 to come from account number 450-000-818000. Be it resolved that mayor and council authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign all pertinent contract documents.
So moved.
Discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Kelsey.
Yes.
Higgins.
Yes.
Darzinski,
Yes.
Murphy.
Yes.
Parkinson,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. So am I missing? Oh, there we go. Next item has a cover letter from John Kazoo, our Director of Department of Public Services. Lincoln Park DPS Sewer Department currently uses GAP vac truck to clear sanitary sewers. The gap vac is large in size, which makes it difficult to reach sewers that are located in backyards and alleys. This easement machine connects to the gap vac and allows the sewer department to reach locations that the gap vac truck is unable to. This piece of equipment will allow the sewer department to work more efficiently. This is for an easement machine, by the way. Wayne County RISA CoPro Plus went through the formal bid process, and M-Tech Corporation was the lowest bidder that met the required specifications. M-Tech Company has offered to extend their bid prices for the easement machine to the city of Lincoln Park. The total cost of the easement machine is included in 2018-19 capital improvement budget and is not to exceed $48,997.66. So whereas Wayne County RISA CoPro Plus has completed a formal bid process for an easement machine, and whereas M-Tech Company was lowest best bidder, meeting the specifications required for the easement machine, and has agreed to honor the same bid for Lincoln Park. Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council hereby waive the formal bid process and award the bid for the purchase of the easement machine using the bid provided to Wayne County RISA CoPro Plus by the M-Tech Company for a cost not to exceed $48,997.66 to come from account number 420-001-983000.
So moved.
Support. Discussion?
Question, is there going to be training involved in this? In other words, obviously it's a new piece of equipment. Are we going to get some kind of hands-on training so our guys and gals know how to use this, so we're not, or does that?
And we have Mr. Kazoo at the microphone. So,
Water and Sewer Department staff will, city council members will not.
Answered my question.
is there further discussion?
Through the chair,
Yes, sir.
just in the interest of full disclosure, at M-Tech, I work in international trade. This is a consignee that I've seen on paperwork for the work that I do. I never talked to this company. I don't have anything to do with their business. I don't make any decisions for them. They don't make any decisions for me. But it is a company that I've seen in the private work that I do. Thank you.
So noted. Further discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilpersons Higgins,
Yes.
Parkinson,
Yes.
Darzinski,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. All right. The next action item is resolved that special event permit number 13 be approved for Kroger's to host a free sampling of Kellogg's breakfast foods from a food truck in their parking lot located at 2060 Dix on September 2nd, 2018, from 3 p.m. until 7 p.m.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion? Breakfast in the afternoon.
There you go.
Free food.
Can't go wrong.
Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Kelsey,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Darzinski.
Yes.
Higgins.
Yes.
Murphy.
Yes.
Parkinson.
Yes.
And Mayor Carnes.
Yes. Next item is resolved that special event permit number 14 be approved for a craft and vendor show located in the parking lot of the Lincoln Park Masonic Hall, 1561 Southfield Road, on Sunday, August 12, 2018, from 11 p.m. until 5 p.m.
Ooh, it should be AM.
So moved.
Support.
11 a.m. till 5 p.m. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Is that good with the mover and supporter?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm sorry, who was the mover and supporter?
I moved it.
Okay. And Lillian,
Discussion?
you supported?
No.
Discussion? Clerk, call roll, please.
Councilpersons Kelsey,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Darzinski,
Yes.
Higgins. Murphy.
Yes.
Parkinson.
Yes.
And Mayor Carnes.
Yes. It's not 2 pages of that, is there? Here we go. Resolved that accounts and claims payable for those items greater than $25,000 be approved as follows. District Court, August 2018 monthly stipend, $49,059.34. GV Cement Contracting, 2018 contract sectioning program, $70,838.20. 2018 concrete sectioning utility, $46,651.48. GFL Environmental, August 2018 curbside and dumpsters, $111,624.84. Great Lakes Water Authority, June 2018 water, $191,388.93. Hennessy Engineers Incorporated, Senior Center Roof, CDBG, $158.40. General Consulting, $113.52. DWSD, TAC, and AWG Consulting, $37.84. SAW Grant, $7,000.40. SAW Grant Cleaning and Televising, $106.70. 2018 Concrete Sectional Program, $17,034.38. 2018 Joint Ceiling Program, $878.02. Electric Avenue and Russell Avenue intersections, $220. 2017 Lincoln Park Bridge inspections, $1,000. Emmons resurfacing, Fort 2 East, $1,412.84. Inland Waters Pollution, 2018 Sanitary Sewer Cured In, $138,616. Liquid Force Services USA, SRF Sanitary Sewer Rehab, $75,751. McKenna Building Services and Permits, June 2018, $79,627.80. City of Riverview, June 2018 Dumping Service, $30,558.19. RFC LLC, LP Pride and City Properties, $30,461.41. Superion, 2018-19 yearly computer software fee, $28,430.72. Wayne County fixed excess July 2018, $72,035. And prisoner housing, October 17 through March of 18, $97,335. And City of Wyandotte, April to June Downriver Dispatch, $63,400.92.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion?
Question. On the page 9 of the warrants, it talks about the toilets and sinks for the youth center and Quant Park being replaced. And I know we had a discussion about why they're being replaced. I wondered, since we've replaced it and invested that money, are we doing what we talked about with the police chief of putting a camera or that free one that he would get that we could put up there, because they keep breaking into that and we keep replacing that. And I'm wondering, are we going to keep doing that, or are we going to take some preventive measures to ensure that we at least do something to try to catch who's doing it?
Yes, I have to check to see where that stands, but we did receive a camera. I think, as I said earlier today when we talked about this,
Right.
that we need to follow up, because I think there was a connectivity issue that I thought was taken care of, so.
Okay, I just want to make sure it doesn't get dropped, because with the summer still being on and we have a lot of functions in there, obviously, we had to put some, I think it was stainless steel sinks in the one item because of the fact that we broke the porcelain on the doors and all that. I just want to make sure that we do at least making a timely attempt. Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
No problem. Further discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Kelsey.
Yes.
Darzinski.
Yes.
Higgins.
Yes.
Murphy.
Yes.
Parkinson.
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
And Mayor Carnes.
Yes. It's now time for our city manager's report. Mr. Copler?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Just had a few items to go over with you. Yes, and I think you know me. What I'm handing out is a memo, resolution, and some follow-up from the fire chief. And this is related to the fire inspection program. And I know the fire chief is here, and I don't know if you want to come forward. You know, obviously, we're not, do you need more? Because I have
Yeah.
more here somewhere.
Oh, no.
No, we're good. It was stuck together.
Okay, good. I thought I'd given out just the right number, but
We're good.
So in response to the last work session we had on this, the fire chief put this together. Obviously, we're not asking for any action tonight, and we just want to put this on the table for your consideration, and we'll give you, a couple weeks to get back to us then to see if you want to make any changes or have any requests related to what the fire chief is recommending. So I'm going to turn it over to Steve real quick.
So just to go over what we discussed in the previous meeting, I put forward the new fee schedule with significant reductions for almost all the commercial businesses. And then I've also put a sample letter that will go out to the businesses, kind of outlining what we're looking for. This is much more in depth than I got the last time. Also, because of a delay in rolling out the program, they got the letter and then they didn't get inspected till probably like a year and a half to 2 years later. So obviously we can't put down everything that we'd be looking for, but this is a pretty detailed list. If the commercial businesses can kind of adhere to what we have laid out here, they should have a pretty smooth inspection process. So again, just to reiterate, we talked about lowering the fees. We talked about a more consistent process to make sure everybody kind of was treated the same, and nobody, or the perception wasn't that some people were being treated differently than others. So that's what our intent is here, and hopefully we've done that.
Your Honor, just one question about the proposed fees. Will these fees still cover the amount that for the officer doing the job?
The way I've projected it, they have. I mean, there's no way really to tell until we get down to the nitty gritty, but I believe so. The inspections should be quicker. Handing out this, if people adhere to the letter especially, it should make the inspections quicker. That's assuming that they're going to have everything kind of follow the letter of the law. But even still, it should cover all the costs.
Your Honor.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Chief, you've addressed the, one of the concerns of the business people that were up here, and that would be the size of the operation. But you haven't addressed what they thought was the more important issue, which would be the type of business. So if you have an accounting office that has 2,000 square feet.
Right.
And you have a gas station with all kinds of chemicals and fumes and that type of thing, you're still charging them the same.
I'm not. They're being charged by the square footage, regardless of the type of business. So
That's what I'm saying. You could have a gas station that is the same size as the accounting office.
Right.
And they're getting charged the same amount, even though one is much more dangerous or hazardous than the other.
okay. Well, it's really difficult to do that, and I don't know where I would need some direction from the mayor and council as to how exactly you would want me to do that, because you want everybody treated fairly, and I think that we've done that here. If you look at these fees that I've proposed, the new fees, and you compare them to anybody around us, they fall right in line, and most people don't carve out if it's dependent on the hazard. The fire and life safety inspection is not for high hazard areas, it's for anybody. It's for the people that would frequent the business, the people who work there, the owners, et cetera. So just because it might seem like it's a lower hazard risk, a lot of the things that we're looking for are there regardless of the type of business. As I said before, if somebody moves a cable line or a phone line, they have a tendency to pop ceiling tiles. They'll run new lines, and they either break a ceiling tile or they'll leave a hole. They don't fill that. That's an area for potential fire spread. It's that type of thing. We still see a lot of extension cords. We see a lot of people storing flammable materials. They maintain their lawn, so they'll have like snow removal machines and lawn mowers, and they'll store gas, and they'll put it in a room with like their hot water heater or something that makes it more flammable. So it doesn't matter whether it's high hazard or not, it's still a significant hazard.
Are you going to bring this back to us like in a year or so when you've had a chance to think about improvements or things that would be different that you could handle?
Sure. Sure, and we can continue to report if the mayor and council so choose. We can report back to you and let you know what we're finding, what the most common hazards are. But I know from examining them myself that it's the typical ones that we keep seeing over and over. It's not necessarily the high hazard areas, although they do have a significant amount of violations. It's just your everyday mom and pop that have a lot of those violations.
Well, I understand that. I understand that it's good that we at least have a program where we can get in there and do the inspections.
Right.
My main concern all along has been that we don't want to drive business out of Lincoln Park because we're too overly active on these type of things. I know, you know, that's your number one priority, but in business, you know, you can have that priority and drive the people next door to Southgate.
I understand. I personally think these fees are very doable. I think if given enough consideration, I think you'll find that they are too. But I'm open to any suggestions that you guys have. If you want me to take a different direction, I'm more than happy to do that.
So these would be coming at a future meeting?
Yeah, we'd bring the resolution to the next council meeting.
Through the chair.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
I bring up what Tom said, that if it's a gas station or a accounting office that are the same size, could you put a thing on there for hazmat? If there's a hazardous situation, it's gonna be more money? It's gonna take you a lot more time?
We could do that. But again, we're trying not to chase business out. I think.
Oh, yeah, but a gas station, a body shop,
Right.
they're gonna have a lot more chemicals than, say, a real estate company.
Right.
So if it's gonna take you a lot longer to do it, then the hazmat's gonna cost you a lot more money, a lot more time, then there should be, if there's a hazmat thing in here where hazmat's gonna be charged to it, there should be a price for that also.
I can definitely add something to that for the next council.
Thank you very much.
I got a question through the chair for the chief, if I may.
Go ahead.
Obviously, when you do the inspections, you keep a record of these businesses, the violations, and what you've asked them to correct. So would it be fair to say in a couple of years, you can have a history about what they're doing or not doing, so that if there's any complaints from the businesses, you have a documentation that says, hey, you might have forgot this, but 2 years ago we were here, and guess what? We've asked you the second or third time. What I'm getting at is it starts a dialogue with the businesses, so they're aware that we're not just willy-nilly doing this stuff, that we're looking at this, we've kept records because we're supposed to, and then we can reevaluate in a couple of years or a year to see how they're doing it based upon probably a year or 2 years probably to see how they're doing it. And I like the fact of fairness, because a lot of times what happens is, irregardless what business it is, if you're not fair across the board, somebody's always yelling, and rightfully so. So you have to be fair irregardless of how you do it, as long as it's fair across the board. And I like the reductions, and I think you said also that we're basically in the area as far as municipalities. We're right in the ballpark as it begins. So if they went someplace else, I don't think they're going to charge them any less, you know.
Right.
Which is good, because that keeps us competitive too. So.
And to answer your question,
Yeah.
we do document. We also have pictures, and we keep those also. So if we ever had to go back and, you know, it wasn't clear what we wrote down, we have a picture to show them.
Oh, great.
Yep. And we also, since the last meeting too, we've gotten the responder up and running. They've been, the fire responder's been put on all the computers on each of the trucks, so now they can pull it up and they can see all the data that the inspectors have entered, so they know where the hydrant hookups are, where the closest fire hydrants are, any significant hazards. All that is available to everybody on the trucks, and we've also put them on each of the smartphones that are also on the trucks, so that they not only have them in their hand now, they have them in the vehicles.
I think that's a
Very
good, through the chair, yeah, it's very good. I think that's for safety and for their benefit too. Thank you.
Anything?
Paperwork.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Second item I had, a couple meetings back, Councilman Parkinson had asked about if we could get DTE to come in and do an energy assessment. And so I had been going back and forth with DTE on this, and actually, as of today, we finally got a meeting set up, and the answer is yes, they can do that. And they're going to be coming out a week from Friday to meet with me and start the preliminary assessment, and give me all the list of all the information that they're going to be needing to be able to do that. But they'll be looking at all of our buildings, and they'll come up with, you know, the areas where they think we can improve on our energy consumption to reduce the energy consumption. So I wanted to point out, because I know that we had talked, and I said that we're working to get this done, but I think we're very close now to actually getting it done.
So the question is, they're doing it for free for us, is that correct?
Yes.
And Honeywell cost us $3.5 million? And they didn't do anything?
Well, kind of apples and it's apples and oranges.
At least I know we're getting about the same thing done for free.
Yeah, it's apples and oranges. I think, the Honeywell project was kind of the end of the process. We're at the beginning of the process because, what they're going to do is they'll say, like for instance, these lights above us, they're kind of a high energy use compared to other types. I mean, if you go to the back of the council chambers, those are all LED. So they'll come in and look at all the lighting we have within our buildings and say, if you change from this to that, it's going to save you X amount of money, and we have these rebates, so it's even going to, cost you less to do that. Same thing with...
Me and you don't have the knowledge to
Yeah.
point out these problems.
Yeah.
So they have the knowledge, so they can come and point out all the problems in our buildings.
Right, exactly. And
And
then-
save us a ton of money in the long run.
And then we have to come up with a strategy on how to go about, making those changes that they're recommending. So that's where, the Honeywell, which we don't like to talk about, is really an end part of the process. We're at the very beginning to identify, the areas where we can save money, developing the strategies going forward to try to get those implemented.
Well, even if it's a 5-year plan, at least we had a plan.
Yeah, right. I mean, I think that's the goal, is to develop a reasonable time frame to address, high gain changes to operations. Again, lights generally are an area where you can reduce your energy consumption. There's a cost to it, and we'd have to plan that out. Dennis, I think, left already, but, he's already looked at the community center as an example. Replacing out, those lights is probably a $60,000, $70,000 project, but it's going to save $20,000 a year thereabouts. So, those are the type of things we not only have to identify, but we also then have to figure out how we're going to pay for them going forward. So we're at the very beginning part of it, where we'll get the assessment done and, identify those things that we can do to try to change that cost curve for our energy uses.
Well, it's in its infancy right now, so as we go along, we can figure out where we need to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's good timing because we should have it done before the start of the next budget process, and we'll be able to hopefully work some of those projects into the upcoming budget.
Thank you, sir.
Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
If I could, Matt, when you work with DTE on this, one of the main problems we had with the Honeywell project that was a complete disaster was that they were never able to give us the information to measure the success. In other words, they suggested we put in all kinds of new heating units, new electrical units, but they were never able to tell us how much we actually saved when we did that in comparison with the cost that it took us to make those changes. And if we wanted that information, it was going to cost us like $9,000 a year to do that. I would be opposed to anything that we were going to be charged for the information that showed us what we were saving on our investment.
Right. No, and I'm very sensitive to the history the city has had with that type of project, believe me. What we come up with and what I would recommend at this point, based upon our financial abilities, is not to look at an energy performance contract. I mean, that's what it is. You have to be willing to spend a little money up front to be able to do it the right way. In other communities, we've done energy performance contracting, never had any issues. But I think the difference is, we spent money up front hiring professionals to advocate for us and not just turn it over to the company that's doing the performance. Establishing up front a good contract so it doesn't cost us money to get, those items as well. So it can be done the right way, but, again, and this is a conversation I think I had with Councilman Parkinson on this, is that I would not be stupid enough to bring that forward at this point in time, an energy performance contract. I think there's things that we can do short-term that will improve upon the energy that's within our financial budget to be able to do those things.
You feel that's going to be something that is easy to discern as far as the value? In other words, if they're going to come along and they're going to tell us, you need to change these lights, you need to change this electrical equipment. And what I want to know is, how do we measure what they're saying, and I don't want them to charge us $1 million to tell us how we're saving $20.
Right, no, and again, what DTE is going to do is nothing close to that. You know,
Okay.
what they're going to do is they're going to come in, again, they're going to walk through all our buildings, and they're going to say, as an example, these lights above us, you know, those are a little bit older and is not as energy efficient as an LED. And then they'll give us a report saying if you change out in the council chambers these lights, you would save X amount of money, you know, amount of energy at that present time, probably more so energy use rather than money. And these are the rebates that we would be able to provide if you did that project. And so it'd be up to us to decide if we want to spend that money to change those out and get those rebates and reduce the energy cost.
One of the problems that we had when we did the Honeywell project was that we never assigned anybody of our people here in Lincoln Park to actually take a look at those electric bills and those heating bills to see if there was a savings on them or not. We need to do that.
No, and again, there is some internal work that's going to have to be done as part of this assessment. I mean, it's not DTE coming in and just doing all the work, although they have a lot of, you know, I mean, obviously they have the access to all our energy use. But, you know, there's things that we're going to have to do as well to help make that a productive assessment. But again, you know, we're nowhere close to a Honeywell project here. Again, there's, you know, that's energy performance contracting. You know, depending, again, in other communities I've been in, you know, we made the financial decision that it made more sense for us to do it as part of our ongoing budget than it was to do it all at the same time. Because, you know, we had the resources and it just made financial sense for us to do it rather than, you know, bring in a third party to do all that work and figure out how to do those assessments. I mean, there's no doubt that, you know, LED lighting is more energy efficient than, you know, traditional lighting like we have above us. I mean, there's no doubt that you save money in doing that. So we wouldn't have to do a lot of calculations to figure that out. And it's something that, again, within this room, you know, it's within our wherewithal to make those changes. Again, those that were done back there were done in-house. And so, you know, there may be a component of in-house staff doing it. There may be a component of, you know, hiring contractors as part of a project to do it, but it wouldn't be under energy performance contracting. And
Sure, Chair.
generally, you look at the low-hanging fruit first to try to get those things taken care of.
Well, they're not going to charge us for the fee. So if they come in, they can say, well, you're burning 10 watts here, you only burn 5 watts. They know how to figure that out, to figure out how much you're saving. So yes, Tom, they could tell you how much you're saving, roughly, at a guesstimate.
Yeah, and just, again, you know, we've been doing the change out of all the street lighting, going from the sodium to the LED. And that's a project that we've worked with DTE on. They've done all the, you know, all the analysis to say if you change these out, this is the reduction in energy, and here's what the current cost is for that, here's what your savings. It's going to be very similar to that, except looking at all the systems within a building, not just the lights.
We good?
I just got a I got a question for the city manager. Being we're on DTE, and I don't want to rehash all the energy savings, but, you know, one of the reasons why we had all the fire department guys out on a run was because we had down power lines. Are we looking to do a cost recovery like we do with everything else when we have a tanker that dumps the fuel on the ground? Because, you know, I mean, we had 3 rigs out or 2 rigs and whatever it was, and they were all gone, and they were simply going on down lines. And usually CERT goes out there, and I know they've been out there, and I've been out there in the past. But when are we going to start looking at cost recovery for DTE? Because sometimes, because we have somebody there, whether it's a volunteer or a paid fireman, that they take hours and hours because they're notified somebody's watching the line. So we're not a priority to come over. In the meantime, the clock is ticking, and, you know, it's okay to keep using a volunteer, but after a while, they sit out there 4, 5, 6 hours, and DTE still doesn't come. So do we have something looking at that?
Actually, at the
DTE is
emergency
coming.
management meeting earlier today, we had that very conversation on cost recovery for that particular thing. So there's a little bit of work we want to do, talking to some of the communities that have been active in doing that. to make sure that, again, we follow up and do take the right action. So it is something that we did talk about today, and I think is an action item that you may see some changes or some recommended changes to the code to make sure that we're in line with what's necessary. So but that is being discussed.
Through the chair, I got one question on what you're talking about. I come home one day and dirt was all over the place. I had yellow tape all around my yard because there was a wire down. Turned out it was the WOW line that I don't use anymore. So it's still hanging there. And the one in the back is hanging there, it's AT&T. So when are we going to figure out when these people are going to take them down? And since CERT was out there and the fire department and all that, you only need to be able to start charging the cable companies too, because I don't know if it's power line or not.
Yeah, and so that's at your address is where that's
Yes.
at? Okay.
I have one on the alley side and I have one other side of my yard. It's coming out of the other pole. So, I mean, we don't have a cable commission anymore. It's under the state. Well, I'll tell you what, if you can call the state, you might as well hold your breath and turn blue.
Yeah, let me reach out to the representatives, the community representatives for both those.
Thank you.
I mean, it's again, something that they are, by law, supposed to take care of. I mean, you're not.
Well, if I could stick in a bucket of water and let them come out and look at it, I think I'd do that, but I was told that bucket of water won't work, so.
Okay. No other questions on that? Okay. The last thing I wanted to give an update on is our progress towards the animal shelter. And I did give a quick email update that staff had been working with a surrounding community or a neighboring community on possibly working with them. After a lot of discussion and some review, as I said in my email to you, I felt that it probably was not the best interest of the city to go that route, which kind of put us in fast motion to try to figure out how we could get this done ourselves. I think, as I said in my email, we have a solution. We had a meeting with the state regulatory authority to come out and take a look at the facility that we're considering. They were very positive and felt that there wouldn't be any issues with getting that licensed going forward. There's still a lot of work we have to do, which means interim, we're probably going to lose the use of the Taylor facility before we'll have our own up and operational. There's probably going to be some time here in the next couple of meetings where we're coming back, looking at some bid waivers potentially based upon, quick expenditure of money to get some things done. But it, of course, would be done in a way that, make sure we're getting the best pricing. But I think there's a lot of potential with this going forward at the site where we're talking about. I'm hopefully going to have that site agreed to within the next couple of days. But I think overall, and why I felt comfortable using some of the money that we have appropriated within the capital for the animal shelter towards the roof, is that we're probably going to be well underneath $200,000 in bringing this in. I hope well under that. But I still don't have all the final numbers in yet. We're working on those. But again, I think probably a realistic budget is somewhere around 125 is where we'll be. But as I get closer to being able to say that authoritatively, I'll put that in writing to you. But there's still a couple things that we need to work through to finalize this. But it looks like, the city of Lincoln Park will be back into the animal sheltering business very, very soon, most likely within the next 3 months.
Very good.
Now, if you had any questions on that.
Okay.
And that's all I had, because I wanted to keep it short tonight, which didn't work. Sorry, Carrie.
Thanks.
But if there's anything else you have, I'll try to answer your questions.
I have a question to the chair.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
I've had a lot of requests lately for people asking me how do they go about getting a new street light or for their neighborhood. Could you please, I know how to do it, but could you please?
Yeah, I think there's a few different ways this can happen. One is to contact their council members and say, hey, we have a desire for that. And actually, if you remember, you've done that in the past. So that would trigger off the process. And generally what happens is when we get that request, we hand it off to the police department. The police department will go out and they'll take a look at the area at night to see if there are any safety issues that would warrant, the need for that street light. Sometimes they come back and say, yes, because of the position of the other street lights, it's necessary.
I know.
Sometimes they'll say, it's not necessary. So one way is through council members. Second way is through the website. If you go to the request a service or say a concern, I can't remember exactly how it's worded on the website anymore, but there is a drop down there where you can select request a street light. So that's the second way. The third way is to contact the city manager's office. And, generally, if they're contacting you, they are contacting the city manager's office, so they could cut out the middleman if they so desire, and contact me directly. And again, we'll start that process to ascertain if it's, there is a public safety need for that. And in short time that I've been here, it's probably 50-50 in terms of whether we've gone ahead and put streetlights up or not. And again, it's primarily based on public safety issues.
We good? Thank you, sir. Then we'll move on to our department head report. It's the library director, Nicole.
Thank you. I'll pass these out. It's information on the fall used book sale. I will try to keep it brief. I'll just go over, we're wrapping up the summer reading program. Saturday was the last day for children to turn their reading logs in. And I'm happy to say we had 125 children that completed their reading logs and turned it in, because a lot of times you will have children sign up and then just never come back in. So that was a pretty good participation rate for us. And the final summer reading program is going to be tomorrow night at 6:30. We're having a performance by A2 Magic in the library program room. And we've had really good participation and turnout in all of the summer reading programs we've had this summer, so it should be a good time. And then I will give you an update on our catalog. On May 25th, the new library catalog, which is called Carl, went live. And it also, the library staff is using the same system to check in and out books and what have you. We have had a lot of positive feedback from the community. They have found the new catalog much easier to use and much easier to log in. You can set updates to text message or email or phone call to let you know when your items will be due back in the library, and also that they can pay their fines or other fees online. There will be further enhancements to Carl coming in the fall, but I don't have any exact dates on that yet. We're working with the Library Network, which is the consortium we're part of. And so they are looking at September to have further enhancements to the catalog, but I don't have any exact dates on that so far. The other thing I wanted the council to be aware of is the Friends of the Library have set the date for their used book sale. It is going to be September 21st through September 29th this year. And we have had a substantial donation from a private donor. It's over 4,000 books so far, and we are anticipating more. And a lot of them are rare and antique books. So I think this will be a very special fall book sale this year, and we're anticipating a lot of turnout for that.
Was that from the Regina family?
Yes.
Okay.
Is there any questions?
Through the chair.
Yes, sir.
Last meeting I was at with you, we were talking about getting carpeting for the library. Can you tell me where we're at on that?
Yeah, we decided not to go with the carpeting company that was used for City Hall because they weren't able to accommodate the shelving. Most carpeting companies will attempt to move the shelving, and they did not want to do that for the library, so we're looking at other vendors.
Anything else for librarian? Well, congratulations on the 125 kids doing that reading log in the summer. That's a good amount.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. I don't know if there'll be some questions for you after through the citizen communications, but if you wouldn't mind just
Sure.
for a moment. Thank you, Nicole. And speaking of citizen communications, we are at that time.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Richard Kudrak. It's been a while. On July 16th, I sent an email to the city management. I know you folks are sometimes busy, so on July 23rd, I sent a reminder, is my receipt of response forthcoming? Well, I didn't get a response in 3 weeks, so I guess I'll ask you in person. But before I do that, I just want to kind of paraphrase a sign I saw in a shop one day. I understand the employees have their own daily work, but I kind of consider a resident's concern should not be considered an interruption of your work. Rather, a resident's concern should be one of the reasons you have a job. Through the chair, may I ask my question?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. What happened to the introduction of Lincoln Park food trucks?
We are still waiting for the DDA to bring forward what they're going to be asking for. That's working through the planning consultant as well.
Is there a timetable on that?
At this point, no.
Okay. I've always been one of those people very concerned about the Wyandotte wastewater treatment plant and all the foolishness associated with that. Today I got my water bill, and as always, my sewer charge is larger than my water charge, which we all know is fraudulent, because a lot of that water doesn't go down a sewer. You're doing your landscaping, you got a sprinkler for the kids because it's so hot, you're washing your car. So anyway, to do an apples and apples comparison, I said, well, let's look at the unit rate. But the bill, my February bill, the water charge was $3.21 per unit. The bill I just got is $3.29 per unit, comparable. The sewer charge in February was $3.15. I'm sorry, that's $3.75 per unit. And the bill I just got is $3.76. So where previously I brought this up and I was assured that the city, in coordination with Detroit, is making adjustments to the summer water bills because a lot of that water is not going down the sewer, the bills just show that that's just bogus. And somebody has an awful lot of money that they're not entitled to because we're paying for sewage charges for water that did not go down a sewer. Thank you so much.
My name is Duchesne, and I live in Lincoln Park. And tomorrow is the Voters' Day, and the politicians are saying all kind of things to get our vote. The one I dislike the most is the one about cutting our taxes. Before Lansing does any tax cutting, it should restore to the cities like Lincoln Park all the money Lansing cut back to the cities years ago. Lincoln Park budget for the year 2005-06 was one of the highest from state revenue sources. It was $5,315,797. It's been less than that 05-06 budget figure every year since then. There are two sources of revenue in that amount. One is called the state constitutional, and the politicians can't mess with it. The other is called sales tax statutory. This is the one that Lansing cuts. One year, the amount cut was over $1,100,000 and that year, from the year 2005 to 06. If you add all the state revenue that was cut back in those years, it probably was over $5 million. I remember council members talking about the state cutting back on money. Remember what happened to Lincoln Park? It was a budget message to the council dated May 3rd, 2010, from the city manager, who gave three examples of the last 7 years expenditures exceeded revenue, and the other 3 years revenue barely covered expenses. I hope everyone remembers all the cutbacks the city had to make, plus the state taking over the city. And we had to borrow $2.5 million for 10 years from the Water and Sewage Fund. Other things we cut back on were retirees' medical insurance. Also, we're short of policemen and firemen and workers, and have low funds in our pension funds. And see, all our road bonds we couldn't sell because of our credit rating. If Lansing should forget about the tax cut, Lansing should forget about the tax cuts until cities like Lincoln Park are given back the money that was held back in the years past. Thank you.
Well, good evening, Mayor and Council. Clifford Eberts. I just want to say the progress on that new Sonic on Dix is going well. It's nice to see new businesses coming in. This is some of the positive demographics we can look at with the city, along with what Lona Varga brought up tonight. That's the positives of the city, seeing that money coming back and turning Lincoln Park to the positives. And we, it helps us to bring, a lot of people, a lot of new business to the city. We've had a lot of great events over the summer that really draws people into Lincoln Park. And one of the biggest, and I got to give it to her because she's here tonight, is Maureen Tobit. She's done an awesome job with the concert and everything. She's just great program. And with this Hard Rock contractor, I think we should hold on to this guy. And I compliment John on Hennessy Engineers too. We look back a couple of years when we had RJ&J and a few other epic fails with Emmons Boulevard. I think we got a contractor and an engineering firm that's helping steer Lincoln Park in the right direction. We've got a contractor that's going to, go out and lay sod for free on his own dime. We didn't see too many contractors before in the past willing to do that, so we may have somebody that can help shape Lincoln Park and take us into the future, fixing other streets and future projects. So, and with this money coming in for the parks, the lighting, I just want to urge the Lincoln Park residents that when you see this stuff happening, look at it as the positives and thank your local representatives and your council people and your county commissioner for what they've done. Not to mention, take pride, keep your parks clean, keep everything up. This is your city. If you want it to look nice and you want to see positives, it's more than just the government. It's the action and the citizens getting involved in everything. And as you know, tomorrow's election day, so please get out and rock your vote. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. How's everybody doing tonight? Sean Stansberry. First thing I got is the first week of July, we had a wind and rainstorm. I don't remember the day, but I got up early the next morning and noticed a massive limb that fell across the street from the city easement, and the limb stretched over the entire street from north to south. I called DPS around 6:30 in the morning and left a message. Shortly after 8 a.m., 2 crews showed up and got to work. They were very efficient, fast, and kept everything clean as they were working. Ron Rail was the guy, one of the main guys that was out there. He was very nice. All the guys were out there were really good, so I just want to commend them on a great job that they've done. And, you know, we always talk about the police and fire, which they do a great job as well, but we forget about the DPS. So I just want to thank them, and they are very important, and they do a great job in the city, so thanks, John, for everybody over there. And we're lucky to have so many excellent services in our city as well, too. I didn't make the last meeting, but I watched it, and I seen the city was talking about entering into a recycling program, and then I heard tonight that we're going to have like a town hall on it, and before we do anything. I think until we see that our efforts to recycle have been put to that, we should not enter in such a program. I'm all for recycling. I do it all the time. I think it's a great thing to do. It keeps all the stuff out of the landfills. China has shut down most of the market as of recently, and I've talked about this up here, and Matt's acknowledged it too. I've read a lot of articles about it, so it's just not 1 or 2 articles or, you know, news outlets or whatever. This is a big problem. You know, everybody's efforts to recycle are just going to waste because it's going right in the landfill. So until we see something on paper, if we're going to, you know, enter into something like this, we didn't make sure that what we're recycling is going to go to recycling and not into a landfill. So I think that, I think we need to look at that before we do anything. That's pretty important. As far as the Lincoln Park recycling of the clothing and shoes and all that, that's a good program because that goes to third world countries and people, you know, they use a lot of that stuff, so it's not in a landfill. So I think that's a good program, so I don't want anybody to, you know, kind of get the two confused. I think it's a real worthy purpose, so we need to keep doing that. And it's like a lot of people have said tonight, tomorrow is August 7th, it's the primary election. Citizens of Lincoln Park, get out and vote. It's your right and it's your privilege. If you don't elect people to get things done, you know, you've got to get out and vote and, you know, get the people you want in. I'll be voting for the next governor of Michigan, Patrick Colbeck. He has intelligent, common sense solutions for Michigan, and I hope my fellow residents will vote for a principled, conservative.
Not appropriate.
Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry, Mayor. I didn't mean to do that. Apologize. The Lincoln Park Art Festival was last week, and it was a great event that me and my girlfriend visited. We got some food. Michelle bought a nice dress there. We walked around. We ran into Carlos Salcido and his wife and had a nice conversation with them. Later that night, we came back to watch Crazy Babies, and wow, were those guys great. Unbelievable. We looked them up after we got home on the internet, and I guess they're the #1 tribute band for Ozzy Osbourne in the United States. So, I mean, as far as the music went, they were really good, because I've been listening to that music for a long time, and they were spot on. The lead singer looks a lot, I mean, I don't know close up, but he looked really close to Ozzy, so, when Ozzy was younger. I will be going to the Lincoln Park Days at the end of the month to watch them perform again. And on another note, I would like to thank Councilman Parkinson and Councilman Kelsey for their attention to blight and ordinance department that they've worked on for a while now. I remember at the Visioning Center that blight was the #1 thing that we all talked about. The mayor was there, Tom was there, Lily was there, you know, Councilman Kelsey was there too. And on all the groups, that was the #1 thing that we were concerned about as a city. So a clean and beautiful city is a prosperous community. So I think that's important too, and I thank you guys both for that, so. Through the chair, I'd like to ask Matt, I know you talked about the shelter tonight. What about the lag time when we're done with Taylor? And in between that and the 3 months, what are we going to do as far as if we get an animal or something happens?
Well, that's your time, sir. I'll let Ms. Copware answer that, but.
Okay.
Yeah, we're hoping it's not going to be a 3-month lag time in between.
Okay.
We think that there's some things we can do based upon what the state told us they'll allow us to do, that we can get it going a little bit quicker than that.
Okay.
But still, there's probably going to be a time between that. Again, hopefully it's not going to be 3 months, but there's going to be some time between the expiration and when we'll be able to do a lot of this ourselves. Right now, the police chief is working on finalizing an agreement with another shelter. It's not going to be as close for our residents, so we're trying to work out how we can help our residents so they wouldn't have to drive a long distance. And so we'll hopefully have those things by the next council meeting. But yes, there probably will be a period in time where, it's not going to be close to us as what we like, but again, I think in the end, it's going to be a better fit what we're doing for the residents and the animals within the community.
Okay, good to hear. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Joyce Murray. I am up here today to ask some of the questions again from our new Facebook page, Residents of Lincoln Park. Anybody who's listening, feel free to join. A lot lately, over the past 3 weeks, we've had a lot more members. Last time I was here, we had about 100. Now we're just about at 300 members. So it's growing about 100 members a week, so that's great. Some of the questions from our residents, is there any update on the Sears Plaza or the Emmons Plaza since the tear down has started at done now at the Sears Plaza and with the contractor that's been working at Emmons?
There's no update as far as Sears goes that I'm aware of, and the work at the plaza, the J.C. Penney Plaza is what I call it for years, is still ongoing. There's minor repairs going in, and I think that, wasn't there a new business that opened up in there? No, maybe not. Oh, yeah. So, I mean, we're still trying to get them to comply with what our requirements are for fixing that, and they are looking at different ideas, but there's nothing solid right now.
Okay. Just an idea, as if any of you members are on there. I know like Councilman Higgins is on there, Councilman Parkinson goes on there, Councilman Kelsey, I know I've seen you guys all down there. Some of the members have really thought about, they really miss the penny candy store that we used to have that burned down a while back. I like vaguely remember it. And then eclectic things, like if you really walked at like Royal Oak and Ferndale, they've set themselves apart from the other neighborhoods because they have eclectic things. It's things that you wouldn't find anywhere else, like axe throwing, drag queen bingo. Like we need to figure out these eclectic things and bring them to Lincoln Park to set ourselves aside from other areas. So just kind of think about that when, you're working with businesses trying to bring them in. Kind of keep that in mind. Today you guys had talked about you were getting some money for the Quant Park lighting and then community center flooring. With us getting money for the flooring, does that mean that the pool will be one step closer to opening? Or is that just part of what needs to be fixed in the building just in general?
This is flooring for the skating center and area there.
Okay, just the skating center area itself.
Pool's under discussion right now.
Okay. The Fort Park and Southfield traffic light seems like it's out of sequence is what it used to be like a month ago, 2 months ago. I drive that every day. A lot of the residents do. Has there been any change in the sequence there? Because it seems like people are stopping at that intersection when the light is red and blocking traffic on Fort Park. So do we know if there's been any sequence issue there?
That's the county that does the signaling and does the setting it up in conjunction with MDOT. So I'm not aware of anything that's been changed. I mean, we can have the chief ask that question, Chief Waters, and see.
Okay. Another item is that Domino's is doing paving per pizza. I don't know if any of you guys saw that or not. But I did go to their website and I submitted our city to have a road redone, have some potholes filled. So if you are on the internet, pavingforpizza.com, and submit Lincoln Park to have a road repaired, paid for by Domino's. So hopefully we'll get that. And then the last thing, a couple of the residents, not just on my, the Residents of Lincoln Park page, but Downriver and Friends and all the other ones as well, have been challenging the Downriver Police Departments to the lip sync challenge. So Lincoln Park Police Department, if you are watching, a lot of your residents are challenging you. So hopefully we'll have some fun with that. Thank you.
I like that.
Seeing no one else, we'll move on to oral reports of the council. Council President Murphy.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm going to keep it short tonight. Our hardworking city clerk, Carrie, has an election to run tomorrow, so I'll try to get out of here as early as we can. But I did, the mayor mentioned at the beginning of the meeting that we had the passing of Gino Cerise. And many of you know that Gino Cerise has been a real public servant in the city of Lincoln Park, although he's never been elected to anything. He did serve as our police and safety commissioner, police and fire commissioner, I'm sorry.
Housing Commission, too.
Oh, you're right, the Housing Commission too. So he's been working for this city for the 30 years or so that I've known him. Probably the biggest influence that Gino gave back to the city of Lincoln Park is that he was our pride contractor. And he used to give of his time to residents who couldn't afford to have the city bill them for cleaning up their property. Many of them were senior citizens, many of them were handicapped and couldn't do it themselves, and Gino would step in. He would take care of the problem and wouldn't take any money for the bill. Didn't bill the city for it, didn't bill the people for it. So that's what public service, I think, is really all about, and Gino Cerise was a public servant in this city for many years. He is going to be laid out at Solowski Funeral Home on Friday from 1 until 8 o'clock. He is going to be buried on Saturday at 9:30. They're going to have the last showing, the last visitation. So if you know Gino, if maybe he's helped you, you might want to consider taking a little time and being present either on Friday or maybe even going to the funeral. So my condolences to his son and his other relatives. He was a fine man, and we're going to miss him. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thanks, sir. Councilman Higgins.
Thank you. I too would like to give my, say that what Gino was to our city. He was, not only did he volunteer for a lot of city things, but also a lot of just public things. He was there and he helped a lot of people doing different things, and he will be missed. He was a true Lincoln Parker. And another true Lincoln Parker, I promised I would mention it. My senior citizen neighbor had a birthday this week, and I would just want to say happy birthday to him. It was very important to him, and happy birthday. And also a happy birthday to my colleague over here, Mr. Kelsey.
Oh, thank you.
Birthday this week.
38.
We had a ribbon cutting in the city this week. Lincoln Park, the coffee shop is officially open. I'd encourage everybody to go in there. I don't drink coffee, but I do love their frozen drinks. Please go in. It's another business in Lincoln Park, and the way we get more businesses in Lincoln Park is to prove that the ones that have moved in can make it. More will come. The art in the park was this past weekend, and Maureen's in the back, and I would just want to say what a great job she did. More vendors than before. Food was great. The attendance was amazing. I think that's more people than we've had in that particular park for any event in a very long time, and extremely well run. Thank you for all that you've done. I'd like to remind everybody, every Sunday we have a farmer's market at Fort and Southfield. There's now the vegetables are in, the good food is in. Come out, have a good time. We mentioned earlier today how Kroger's has reinvested in the city, and I'd like to say thank you to Kroger's. But there's another store that also right here on Dixon Champaign, Family Dollar, as they move from one end of the shopping center to the other end. It's quite a bit bigger store, and they have done an amazing job opening up. Again, I thank you for investing into our city. And lastly, I'd like to give everybody a shout out that the YMCA is their Gator program is open back up. It's for, and they are offering discounts for any child in the Lincoln Park School District can get a discount to join the YMCA and the Gator program. That's all for tonight. Thank you.
Very good. Councilman Kelsey.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Mike, for that birthday wish. Appreciate it. 38 ain't bad. I would like to also say that me and my wife stopped by Art in the Park, and everything Councilman Higgins says and then some was very well done. Love Maureen and everybody else did a great job, and Councilman Higgins was there spending a lot of time, I know, helping out. And it was a very nice time. It was nice to see people in the city, especially large crowds enjoying themselves, so that's kudos for that. The other thing is that I had an opportunity, I know this isn't Lincoln Park, but a lot of us that have older cars than us go down to the cruises, and Telegraph Cruise was going on, which was very nice, and a lot of people went down there from the city and enjoyed a nice time, and it was nice to be down there with the cruise down there, enjoy it. I guess I'm going to keep it short too, but I'd like to make a point, as myself and Councilman Parkinson and Councilman Ross sit on the DPS committee once a month where we discuss issues as representatives of the council concerning the issues of the contractor and DPS. And just to clarify, and I know the mayor brought this up, but I think it irritates me, and I know it irritates everybody else, like the mayor said, but it irritates me is that we were discussing this particular issue on Riverbank since, and I have the emails, which is going to refresh my memory, but it's been a long while. So the contractor coming up here and all of a sudden doing the right thing is amazing, but it took us a long time to get there, and we shouldn't be that long to get to those things. We were working back on this with discussions around May the 14th of this year. And a lot of us up here, and maybe some of the citizens don't know, but we pay a premium for every contract for administration by the engineering company, which is Hennessy. They're supposed to oversee the contractor and make sure that everything's done the right way, and if there's a problem, they're supposed to take care of it. And I don't know what's going on lately, but it seems like there's been an issue with, and we've noticed at the DPS committee, and we've been working on it, but there seems to be an issue with getting some of the issues resolved with our longtime engineering firm, and unfortunately they're gone, and so is the contractor. But I've addressed this with them, and we have at the last DPS committee with the two representatives from Hennessy, and John Hennessy, who owns the company, or runs the company, however way I want to look at it. But, you know, I guess it's getting to be an issue for some reason, and the council should be aware of it, that we're having some problems with the oversight to these contracts. And I don't know what's going on, but we had discussed it, and they talked about creating a better work environment for the oversight. And just on the Emmons project that is going on Emmons and Fort, they had a problem where people were going the wrong way on Emmons because there's not enough signage was put up when they started that program to block off the side streets that go onto Emmons. Now, they're well aware, the engineering firm should be, and that's been here probably 20, 25 years, if I'm not mistaken, and the fact that the contractor who's been doing this job supposedly for a long time. So, you know, the frustration the mayor has and the rest of us is getting to the point where I don't know what the issue is, other than the fact that maybe Hennessy needs to have a meeting with the council. Unfortunately, they're not here to discuss their recommitment to the city, because we've talked about it since May of this year. The contractor was, numerous times I drove her with our DPS supervisor, John Katsu, and he had to make attempts to get a hold of the contractor who was at the podium to get him to come back. So I'd like to say it's great that he's doing the right thing now, but I don't know why it took from May to this time to get it done, and the mayor had to call the meeting to get him to come here, and we've been on there when they're getting paid by the city, and we're paying them a premium for the oversight because that's part of the contract. So I just leave, I think that needs to be said, because that's, something that is not the way it was perceived at the podium. It's great, again, that he's doing the right thing, and Hennessy was saying that, but they've been involved back in May on this particular issue, and now it's August the 6th. Thank you, Mayor.
Sir, Councilman Darzinski.
Thank you, Mayor. Happy birthday, Councilman Kelsey. It's nice to know a 38-year-old is into classic cars. I'm gonna just dovetail on what Larry said about maybe scheduling some kind of study session or session with Hennessy and a special meeting and just tighten up on that oversight, because that's critical. Not everybody has engineering or technical training like that, and it seems like we depend on them quite a bit over the 25 years that they've been here. So, and I know they do a lot of work with Wayne County, so that's a really good idea. Hands of the City of Lincoln Park. Our next planning meeting is Sunday, August 12th, 1:30 p.m. VFW Post 552, that's 1125 Fort Street. For those who don't know, that's the corner of Monty and Fort Street. The first half hour will probably be dedicated to the Downriver Comic and Collectors Show, and we'll talk about the parade, and we'll talk about everything else going on, the book fair that we continue to work on for December, and the penny drop at the end of the year. So, Hands of the City of Lincoln Park, planning meeting, Sunday, August 12th, 1:30 p.m., VFW Post 552, and yes, we will drink beer. Okay, in case there's any concerns about that. The Town Hall 3, I'm calling it, rated PG for general audiences, that I'm putting together privately and personally to discuss and review the police and fire pension portfolio and the review board. This town hall I have scheduled for Tuesday, October 2nd, 7 p.m. at the Icarus Hall. That's 1677 Fort Street. That's at the corner of Fort and Arlington, right in the same building as the Park Restaurant. Please come to the back door. I met with Downriver for Veterans, a very, very interesting and very involved group that is helping veterans at large downriver. And I asked them to please start getting out the word regarding the VFW Post 552 that they need new members. I understand, I get it. When people get out of this service, they raise families, they've got careers. They might not be thinking about a VFW or American Legion Post until they become, people much older than Larry Kelsey. When they get about my age, about 50, that's when they start thinking about joining those posts. So actually, if you think about it, Desert Storm veterans would be right around 48, 50 now. So if you know of a veteran that wants a good post to go to and also to rent for their functions, the VFW Post does need new members. So help out in that any way you can. The mayor of Oak Park, it's a great brand, and as I say, we have to think of branding ourselves as, and I continually push Destination Lincoln Park. The Oak Park mayor has just taken it upon herself to create a Four Corners at 9 Mile and Coolidge, and everything that I've worked on and talked about as far as revitalization was everything that she was saying, and trendy shops and retail and restaurants that she's working on for that area. Just, it's nice to know that there's leadership in other cities, in small cities like in our weight class, that they're thinking along the same lines. So just a very, very positive lady, and everything she's talking about there is, of course, things that we're working on here. The police department. Outside of thanking volunteers, this is my number one favorite thing to do up here. There was an automotive incident, we'll just call it, in my neighborhood. Don't know if it's still under investigation or anything like that, so I'll just call it an auto incident. Started about 9:15 a.m. on a Saturday morning, and our police arrested a suspect around 10:15 a.m. I know because my girlfriend called me and said, auto incident, part 2. She goes, the police just arrested the guy. So, yeah, all you thieves out there and thugs and gangbangers, don't come to Lincoln Park because our police are professionals and they will catch you, you will be arrested, and you will go to jail. So find another city to pick on because our police know what they're doing. And, I mean, they had that situation contained and controlled, done in an hour. Someone's arrested. It's fabulous work. I went to the Allen Park Street Fair this last weekend, and because I think as city council members and leaders in downriver, we should support all the police departments. So I was talking to Allen Park PD and thanked them for being good neighbors and just always having our backs. And they had nothing but great things to say about our police department. You know, they know how hard our guys work, that they are constantly running call to call, and that they said we have a good police department. So that's one police department giving praise to another police department that is ours, and it doesn't get much better than that. Sugar Donuts, that's SUGARR. This is a place in River Rouge owned by Stuart Fox, who grew up in Lincoln Park, and he is formerly a cook from Morrow's Fine Dining in Allen Park. And I'll be talking to this guy as soon as I can this week. So Sugar Donuts is a trendy donut shop in the middle of industrial River Rouge. So these trendy places can happen anywhere. I mean, that's why Wyandotte and Detroit have had the success that they have, and now the E-Course River Rouge area. So it's just a matter of bringing these places here. So he's not interested in opening up another donut shop. He's a caterer as well, but we're going to talk to him and see what he has in mind. And Fantasyland. Yeah, okay, so for people that did not tune into the study session at 6:30, we talked about the renewal of the agreement as far as Fantasyland and the Lincoln Park Chamber of Commerce and what they're going to do to keep on going ahead with putting on and promoting Fantasyland. Debbie Van Cleve, the current president of the chamber, takes about 20 volunteers, as we did the quick math on there, to set up Fantasyland, run Fantasyland, and break it down. So they have volunteers, but there's always a need for more volunteers. If you want to help out with what is truly the crown jewel of Lincoln Park, and for my money, one of the crown jewels of all of Downriver, and for Wayne County for that matter. If you want to help out with Fantasyland, just get a hold of the Lincoln Park Chamber of Commerce and become a volunteer. It is, Fantasyland is singular, it is unique. You're just not going to find many things like that anywhere within the state of Michigan. So, get out and vote tomorrow, folks. By my numbers, we'll have 18-19% voter turnout. I think that's insanely low. It depresses me no end. I don't mean to end on a downer note like that, but I just have to be the adult in the room and get out there and vote, folks. There's none of the municipal offices. We didn't have enough candidates to have primaries for mayor, council, clerk, or treasurer. I find that disappointing since there's over 25,000 eligible voters in Lincoln Park. But hopefully 2020 we will do better at that as a municipality. So vote. Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks, sir. Councilman Parkinson.
Thank you. I too am going to say get out and vote tomorrow. We need people to get out and support us. Matt, thank you very much for sticking with the DT&E Energy Efficiency Program. And since it's going to be free, except for repairs, it's sure a lot better than the E word. Hard Rock Concrete, the man came and gave us his thing today. I'm sure they're going to keep their eye on the guy. He said he hadn't been paid yet. Well, I'd like to see he don't get paid until it's done, because I know the city has paid for jobs in the past, and 3 years later they got straightened out. It wasn't through us, it was through earlier. And the GFL company, I talked to them, he was just here. their routes are all screwed up. They're going by, they're going by my routes. My route's an afternoon route, and they come by at 7 o'clock in the morning. So there's cars parked all over the place, and that's, hence, there's the parking all, taking off the curb, and putting all the cans back in the street, which is a no-no, because then the sweeper can't get down there. So he told me that they got the route thing from the city, and they're gonna change the schedule around where the men are gonna follow routes as much as possible. So, beyond that, thank you very much.
Councilwoman Ross.
Thank you. I just want to say to those at home, we hear you. I think tonight's council meeting, you heard that. Keep calling with your concerns, because we're determined to see results, and we're going to keep on things until we get those results. Among the dates for August, Sunday, August 19th, the Demolay chapter, the young men will be having a car wash on, from 9 to 1, Sunday the 19th. That's it. Thank you.
Alrighty.
I have another death announcement. Do you mind? I'm sorry.
Go ahead, sir.
There's your microphone. Some of the senior council members remember Ann Renaud, who was a great councilwoman in Southgate, often here in Lincoln Park. Her husband Bob passed away early this morning. There will be no services. Bob was a Korean War hero, active in veterans groups in Lincoln Park and in Southgate. He was always here at the civic events in the city of Lincoln Park. The best you could do, Ann said she doesn't have the heart, and you know Ann doesn't have the patience to sit through a funeral. So if you would send just your best wishes to Ann, care of Southgate City Hall. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Art in the Park this past weekend, a great event. A lot of good bands, and it was nice to see everybody out and about, just walking and utilizing the band show. To think of how that is as a performer to play on that band show, which it has to be a special moment for those folks to get up there and do that. But a great job organizing it. We were glad that that took place. As far as Hennessy goes, I had concerns about how they were responding. Took arranged to go down to their place of business and have a sit down with the powers that be there, and said about our displeasure as a whole from what I was hearing. I got favorable responses from them, and what it should include additional communication to all about what projects were going to be going forward, where they were with these projects, and their oversight of that. I think we're still waiting for a couple things for them to give us, but we should see that. And if necessary, then I'm open to have them come in and talk at a study session also. But with that, just remember, folks, get out there and vote tomorrow. You get the government you elect. So, right?
That's true.
With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Support.
No discussion, so clerk call the roll.
Councilpersons Murphy?
Yes.
Darzinski?
Yes.
Higgins?
Sorry about the cover.
Higgins?
Yay.
Kelsey?
Yes?
Parkinson?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
And Mayor Carnes?
Yes.
Very good.
Nicole?